5.0. Pariksha Parv is a campaign organized by National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. It's an endeavor for providing a platform for students, parents and teachers to share their thoughts and get guidance. I'm Divya Singh Sharma, live on New India Junction, Doordarshan and NCPCR channels, specially for you all to ask us live questions. We have various guests who will help us take you through the celebrations called exams, and today we have the Wonder Girl with us, Janhavi Panwar. At the age of 10, she was writing her 10th exams. At 12, addressed 150 plus IAS officers and was already in 12th standard. The video went viral when she was 14. Due to all her talents and skills that we will discover during the session today, you will realize why she was called the Wonder Girl of India merely at the age of 10. Today, she's all of 19 and is already a research scholar with published papers. Isn't that wonderful? Let's welcome Janhavi Panwar to Pariksha Pe Charcha in Pariksha Parv 5.0. Hello Janhavi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's so nice to meet you again.
Thank you. So nice to see you all again.
So how does it feel to be back at Pariksha Parv?
I feel absolutely amazing, and I'd of course definitely like to thank NCPCR for having me here once again, and I'd love to talk with everybody today.
You're welcome, and today we are going to ask you which new accent have you learned now?
I'm working on the Russian accent right now. I'm doing my advanced diploma in French, and I've started working on my Spanish as well.
Oh, that's nice to know. Last time, did I ask you about how many Indian languages do you know?
I don't remember if you did, but you can ask that again, definitely.
So how many do you know?
I only know two. I know Hindi and Haryanvi, which is my dialect, so you can't really count it as a language.
No, it should be counted.
It should be though, but yeah, I do know Haryanvi.
Okay, that's nice. So let's start with what are these research papers that have been published?
I've been doing a research in linguistics, social linguistics, linguistic typology, comparative analysis, and all of this stuff. So what I do is that I research different accents, because obviously that is my field. So I research British and American accents, and I wrote a research paper on imposition of English language in India and its complexities. So over there I discuss how English language came to India, how the British came to India, फिर English कैसे आई, then how they imposed English on us, and now how we are talking in English, and how that English evolved over the years, with accents, with different slangs, with British accent, with a rhotic accent, with a non-rhotic accent. So right now I'm again doing a research, I'm doing a research on the attitudes of people in India towards different accents. So there I basically do an analysis of different accents, British, American, Australian, Canadian and Indian, and I see which students prefer the most. So I take like rural students first, then metropolitan city students, and then some professors, teachers. So I take a variety of people, and then I ask them questions, different queries, and I analyze everything regarding accents.
That is very interesting, and I think this paper is going to be more than just about linguistics, because you spoke about how the British came to India, how English was imposed.
That comes under historical linguistics, and so that's what I focus on.
This is going to also talk about the colonization part of it, and I think the attitude will talk about the decolonization part of it.
It does.
That's very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading this research paper. Also, there is now an Indian English version out there.
There is.
So what do you have to say about that?
I actually don't have a lot to say about that. I mean, obviously, because our accent is basically, we speak in Hindi all of the time. So it's all right if we're talking in an Indian English. Many people actually come up to me and they're like, why are you talking in an American or a British accent? So it's because I've practiced for this accent, so obviously, and I've always had a great curiosity towards it. But now that I see is that if you go into any MNCs, and you go to BPOs, call centers, recruiting companies, so over there you do need an accent, whether it's British or it's American. So it basically depends on the organization you're working with. But I think Indian accent is perfectly fine. Our pronunciation, it's very clear. So I absolutely adore Indian accent as well.
And wasn't it called like the most relatable international accent, like most understandable, something like that?
Something like that. Actually, the problem is that most of the Americans and British, not only Americans and British, I just like to focus most of the native speakers, you know, native speakers of English, they sometimes have a hard time understanding our accent. Although our accent, it has a lot of clarity, you know, because we speak every letter phonetically. We literally speak every sound and every word perfectly. You know, we don't eat any words, we don't skip any letters, we have the correct sound.
We don't roll our R's.
We don't roll our R's. So that's absolutely, and we don't really evolve our accent, you know. What Indian accent was before, it's the same now. So I think, yeah. But, you know, although people, you know, if you're going to take the example of like old native speakers, elder native speakers, they kind of have a hard time understanding our accent. Why? Because the way we are familiar with our tongue and the way we are familiar with the intricacies of our accent, they're not. And the same goes for us, it's vice versa. Sometimes we also have a problem understanding their accent, given they're familiar with their own accent and we're not. So that's just the thing.
It's okay. Yeah. That's true. So talking about exams now, who better to teach our students about exams than you, who has given it way ahead than others, right? All of it mostly. So you are obviously already a graduate.
I am a postgraduate.
Postgraduate, So, sorry, what did you do that?
I did my post-graduation at the age of 18 in English literature and language.
We did ask you that last time.
Yes.
So, talking about languages and talking about knowing what you want to do, your research paper, your linguistic, everything, you know, it's connected to your interests.
Yes.
So, when it comes to choosing a stream,
how
do students decide? Some people are not as sure as what they're interested in.
No, they're not.
So, how do they decide, especially the basics? Arts, science or commerce, the basic decision making.
All right. So after you clear like your 10th standard, so there comes this decision. I see a lot of students, you know, doing this thing is that, our friend, he's going to choose medical, so we're going to go in medical. The point is you have to do your own research. So I think that's one thing that all of us basically lack, is that after you're done with your exams, and even before your exams, you can go on your Google, go on your laptop, you can start following different pages, you know, that give you material regarding studies, regarding 11th standard or 12th standard. So over there you can see which one fascinates you the most and you can go with that. Like if you think, there is a career in this, no, don't do that. If you think is that this one fascinates you the most, go in that and then think what new you can give. You know, basically the thing is that we only choose, all right, gonna have a lot of money, gonna have a lot of fame, a lot of popularity if you're gonna choose this thing. So that's how we choose different streams, you know, all right, like if you're gonna choose medical, then we're gonna become doctor and we're gonna earn a lot of money. No, the thing is not earning a lot of money. The thing is that if becoming a doctor fascinates you, if studying that fascinates you, because I see so many students, is that first they choose a stream and then when they're in 11th or 12th standard, then they're all confused. Then they're like, this is very, very difficult. We shouldn't have done this. So you gotta have this research by yourself if the subjects you're gonna be studying, if you're okay with them. For example, if you wanna choose the commerce field. So you gotta see how accounting is done, how, you know, different subjects are read and how different subjects in commerce are read, what kind of different subjects are there, what topics you're gonna study. That's your job as a student, so that's something you gotta do before, you know, you finally choose your stream. So make sure you have your own research, see if you can make yourself familiar with all of the topics and everything in a stream, and see if that fascinates you, and then go with that.
That's true. You know, what also happens is you end up choosing streams through peer pressure.
You do.
Like
you definitely
everyone's
do.
going to that college.
That one, we're going to do that one. Our best friend is going to that college. Yeah, we're going to go over there.
And I might not get into that because of science, so let's take arts so that I get that college.
Yes,
this happens too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I'd also like to give this example is that, you know, it's just not about, you know, choosing different streams. It's also about very little things. Like, for example, if somebody's wearing brand new clothes and, you know, from a very big brand, so all of a sudden we're going to be like, we got to wear this as well because he or she's wearing it. So we got to do the same thing. So we do it in every little thing. Her hairstyle, it looks very unique. It looks absolutely amazing. I got to try this. So we do it in everything. So I think a research of ours is important to choose a stream because it's about your life, it's about your career.
And trying to be yourself and not like aping.
Absolutely.
So what kept you motivated all this while? So much to do, so much to achieve, and yet go on achieving every step. I think this can help them to stay motivated.
What's keep me motivated every time, let me tell you this, is that sometimes when we don't, you know, really achieve like a lot of good marks, and we're like, oh, I just achieved 50 out of 100, that's not very good, and then we're like, no, and then we're like demotivated all of the time. But what keeps me motivated, even if I achieve like super low grades, then my dad is going to get mad at me, my mom is going to get mad at me, obviously. But what keeps me motivated is that I love doing what I do. Like, for example, learning accents, learning languages. I absolutely love learning different accents. I absolutely love learning different languages. So even if I can't learn an accent in like 2 months, if I had a target for 2 months and I can't learn that, then I'm not going to say this, oh, I got to drop this, I got to give up. I'm not going to do that, because I love doing that thing. I love the process. So if you are thinking is that what is going to keep us motivated throughout our career, is that you got to love what you're doing. You got to love the process. Achieving one thing is pretty easy, but maintaining that can be a little hard. But still, you know, this is not my main goal. You know, going to different interviews or becoming the Wonder Girl of India, this was definitely not my main goal or my priority. My priority is something else. I love doing accents, and that's why, you know, where I am is just because of the accents and the different languages I do. So I definitely say is that whatever you do, you just gotta love the process. That will keep you motivated itself.
That's true. So your motto should be do what you love, and it will eventually tell you what your profession
Yes.
and what everything else should go by. So you are still a student because
Yeah,
of your
I
research and
am.
everything. So what is your day routine like when it comes to studies? Like, how do you divide your time?
I always create a target. When I was here last time, so there was this question by somebody, I still remember, is that how do we manage our time? Something like that.
Yeah, a live question we had.
We had this question. So I always set a target. You know, whenever I have to manage my time, I'm not going to say is that I'm going to wake up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and then I'm going to study from 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. and then I'm going to get, I'm going to take a shower, and then I'm going to have my breakfast. I never do that. Whenever I wake up in the morning, I create a target. Is that before going to bed today, I'm going to complete this book, I'm going to write this research paper, or I'm going to be done with the abstract. Otherwise, I'm not going to go to sleep. So I always set a target. Now, it doesn't matter if from 3 to 4 p.m. whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm awake, whether I'm studying, because I am concerned about whether I can do this thing or not. So distractions like phone, and distractions like somebody calling us, all right, we gotta go, we gotta play. Nothing like that is going to happen. So I always create a target, is that before going to bed, I'm going to complete all of these things, otherwise not going to sleep today. So I finish those targets.
So when you are trying to reach these targets, what
Yeah.
kind of difficulties you face in achieving your targets or your goals?
Oh.
And how do you deal with them?
Oh, so the kind of difficulties I face is that the first and foremost one is somebody ringing me up and then saying, oh, you gotta actually come to a meeting right now, or you gotta talk to us, you have not been giving us enough time, so you have to talk to us right now. So these are the kind of difficulties, and what usually, you know, students usually deal with is that their friends calling them up, how about a party, man, you wanna go over there? So these are the kind of, you know, problems students deal with. So let me tell you this thing, is that whenever I have to deal with this, is that whatever you're doing, you're not doing it for other people. Or another thing is that some kind of distractions, for example, phone, watching movies, and sleeping. So the thing is for example, if you like singing, so you're not going to care if you want to sleep or not. You like singing, you're going to sing as much as you can because you love doing that thing. If you like, solving different equations, you're not going to care if somebody's ringing you up or not because you like doing that thing. The thing is, if any distractions, if any difficulty comes by and you have to deal with that, you just have to make sure is that what your priority is. And then if I have to deal with something even more difficult, then I usually think if I don't study well, then what are going to be the consequences? So I sometimes even let the consequences motivate me. So this is how I deal with different scenarios and situations.
This sounds like quite a film, like you're imagining a
yes,
visual
I
representation.
do. Because this is basically my daily life, I have to deal with everything and then I have to study. But I absolutely love doing this, so I don't really care about that.
So you often must be facing a stressful situation and must be in stress sometimes.
I'd like to say that, words like stress and words like depression, although these are the kind of words that shouldn't be thrown around like this, but I definitely like to say is that they have come a lot, like literally a lot in our generation, in our society, I'd like to say that, is that these are the kind of words, I mean, every third person, every third student, you're going to say, I'm under a lot of stress, I'm under a lot of depression, and why? You ask that person, is going to go like, I have to study, you know, this is my 12 standard, I've got to study a lot. You're a student, studying is basically a religion. The thing is that we have two options, we have two choices for everything. For example, you know, these are two books over here, Exam Warriors 1, Exam Warriors 2, in English and in Hindi. And also, these are amazing books. I've gone through these. You guys, you should definitely go through these, because you gotta clear their exams with the best grades ever. So yeah, so for example, I gotta read these two books, and I gotta read these under 5 hours. Let's take this. And now I've got two choices, is that either I can say is that, oh my God, this is so bad, I gotta read these under 2 hours. Or I can say, well, I can complete them very easily, so the choice is yours, whether you are taking a lot of stress or whether you're not. Although there are situations, I'm not gonna deny, there are situations when there is stress for students, you know, to manage a lot of things, to deal with a lot of things. But if you can choose, you know, if you can choose to be very good, if you can choose to be positive towards it, then why be negative? Because for a negative thing, the society is enough. The society is going to keep telling you, it's a lot of pressure, you know, you got to do this. Society is enough for that. You, on the other hand, you're going to think, no, it's not a lot of pressure. It's all about your mind, the kind of positive things you're thinking. So if you're going to think positive, you're going to attract positive. So always choose the positive path. Nothing is going to be stressful anymore. Let society do that.
So that is how she manages her stress. I was going to ask you, how do you manage your stress?
Yeah, this is how I manage.
You've already answered that. When you were going through your, you were topping and you were giving exams much before others.
Yeah.
So again, I know this is the third word that is thrown around a lot, but it's also a common question that gets asked a lot in our live questions. Do you deal with performance anxiety? Because now you know you're topping, you are doing things way years before others are doing it.
Yeah.
So there will be an anxiety to do more or do better.
Yes, because people definitely expect a topper to be topper once again.
And then there will be things like, oh, you couldn't do. Now the thing is gone, it's going down.
Yeah, काफी बारी होता है ऐसा. You know, people are always like, oh, you did this, then you could easily do this. I'm like, yeah, you would ask me first. So yeah, so something like that definitely happens. Performance anxiety is that the thing is that this comes whenever we have a lack of confidence. Now a lot of people are going to say, that does not make any sense. So for example, if I'm addressing someone, and I know is that if you're going to ask me questions regarding accents, regarding phonetics, I'm going to answer them well. But I also know if I don't know them, if I don't know an answer to a question, so at that time we're going to feel like, oh, this is so bad. But the thing is, if you don't know anything, you also got to have confidence in that thing as well. How? Is that all right, I'm not aware of this, but I'm going to make myself aware of this, you know, I'm going to make myself aware of this topic. So whenever people expect you to be something, or whenever you have this performance anxiety kind of thing, so we always have the superiority complex, is that I know a lot better, I know a lot more than other people. So that's why they, you know, expect well, a lot of good things from you, is that this student, yeah, he or she is going to top because she is that much intelligent. So whenever I'm on stage, if I know the answer to a question, perfection. If I don't know, also perfection, because I know I'm going to make myself aware of this. So whenever you think, all right, so I'm going to give my best, yes, from your side, you definitely have to give your best. But if you think is that you're getting anxiety because what people are going to say, if you don't know anything, or if you're not aware of anything they're going to ask in the question paper or anywhere, so the thing is, over there, instead of making yourself, you know, feel down, or instead of saying stuff like, I don't know this is so bad. No, it's not bad. All right, I don't know this, then I'm gonna make myself aware of it. You just have to be very chill and very positive. So that's it.
So how did you work on your accent? How did you work on it? Like English is obviously not your mother tongue, not any of ours, but it comes naturally to you. And
yeah.
Haryanvi is a very strong accent.
It is.
So, you know, the
contrast. Yeah.
How did you work on it?
Okay, so, well, I was born in a village, you know, in a village of Haryana, and I still live in a town, in a very small town, so, which is also basically a village. So, in my environment, nobody talks, you know, English is a very far thing, you know. Nobody even talks in Hindi. My teachers, my school manager, or anyone, nobody used to
And
talk in
even
Hindi.
Hindi might be very accentuated.
Very much. You know, as I said, nobody even talks in Hindi. So what my father did was, it's basically I was an experiment to my father. So my father experimented everything on me. So what my father did was is that his English is not very fluent, but he used to talk to me in English, and he used to talk to me in like जैसे हम आजकल कहते हैं टूटी फूटी सी English. So he used to talk to me in that. And the best part about my father was is that whenever I used to talk to him, he always used to say Janhavi. Okay, then I used to talk in English with him. And when I used to talk with my like grandmother, mother, I used to talk in Haryanvi. So he kind of built this habit. And after that, when I started working on accents, I used to go to Red Fort, India Gate, to talk to different foreigners so that I can just practice my English and I can become fluent, because I was just 6 years of age. And then I was like, Papa, why are they eating a lot of their words? You know, they eat a lot of their words, and then their tongue rolling. It's so different from us. Why is their accent like that? And then my dad was like, my dad is not aware of all of these things, because obviously we come from villages. We're not aware of the city things and everything like that. So then we went to different institutes in like metropolitan cities, and over there we asked, can you teach us accents? Even they're not aware. So my dad was like, yeah, all right, we're on the same page. Said, how do I learn this thing? So I started mimicking. At first, I used to listen to Arnab Goswami, and I used to mimic him, like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Times Now, and this is the news hour,
so much
and I'm
fun.
Arnab Goswami. On this side, we have this person, this side, the spokesperson of Congress, we're going to do this. So I used to mimic him a lot, you know, with the anger and expressions and everything. Used to adore his, you know, speaking skills.
Same,
yeah. So still do, you know, I still got a lot of respect for him, because of him only today I can read news. And so I'd like to thank him for that. Then I started watching BBC News and CNN News. Then I used to mimic BBC and CNN with their accent. And after mimicking, a lot of people were like, oh, this is only mimicking, you know, this is not the perfect accent. So, because whenever you mimic, people actually think like, yeah, this is not natural. This is definitely not natural.
Yeah.
Then I started working on phonetics. At that time, I was 9 years of age. And when I started working on phonetics, so phonetics people usually study when they're in master's, second year in English. And that's something I studied when I was 8 years and 9 years of age. So after looking in a dictionary, all right, this is British accent, this is the schwa sound, this is the th sound, this is the f sound, and you gotta roll your tongue like this, then you gotta focus on your jaw movement and everything. So the thing is that my tongue, it was already familiar, in my mouth movements, everything, they were already, you know, set with the Indian accent, with the Haryanvi accent. They were not set with the British accent or American accent, so I used to practice the whole day. All right, my tongue, it should go up. Oh, it should touch this. Oh, my lip, it should curl. Oh, my lip, no, it shouldn't. So I used to focus on all of these things, and that's how I used to practice the whole day. And then I learned British accent, American accent first, then all of the other accents eventually.
Doesn't it get confusing at times? Or you're able to differentiate?
It used to.
Or switch?
It used to. Now I'm very familiar with the switch, you know, like if I'm talking in a in American accent right now, so I can easily switch to British accent, you know, because I'm very, very much familiar, got a lot of practice. इसी के साथ में फिर साथ में हिंदी बोल सकती हूँ, फिर हरियाणवी भी आ जाएगी साथ में. So, you know, now I'm familiar with all of this. But when I was
asked you to do that, but you did that anyway on your own.
Oh.
Like switch.
Yeah, so then I was like, all right, now I gotta talk in an Australian accent. All right, I'm gonna talk in an Australian accent. Oh, you want me to talk in a Cockney accent, mate? Yes, I can talk in a Cockney accent. Want me to talk in French? Bonjour, je m'appelle Janhavi. Japanese, oh, konnichiwa, konnichiwa. What, Canadian? All right, so this is the Canadian accent, correct. So this is how I usually switch. American, well, I'm back to American. अब हम इस interview को American हिंदी की जैसे भी करने वैसे करेंगे.
Oh, that's nice. That was very thrilling. I'm so excited. And on that exciting note, we also have some live questions now.
All right.
Niharika asks, please guide an average student about how to perform well in exams.
Oh.
Someone who's not a topper.
First of all, nobody is a topper and nobody is average. हमें सबसे पहले ये बात समझनी पड़ेगी. My father always says this thing कि अगर किसी बच्चे के 100 में से 100 मार्क्स आ रहे हैं, ये बड़ी बात नहीं है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो बच्चा हद से ज़्यादा इंटेलिजेंट है या फिर वो बच्चा टॉपर है. Is getting 100 out of 100 marks. Hi Niharika, sorry. Getting 100 out of 100 and achieving 100 out of 100 marks is not a big deal, Niharika, because, you know, if if you are achieving 100, you studied for those 100 marks for 365 days. So that is your responsibility as a student. And if you are an average student, then maybe you're not understanding your responsibility as a student. The thing is that Niharika, start giving yourself targets, is that I have to complete this chapter in 3 days. Doesn't matter what the school is teaching you, because whatever the school is teaching you, complete your homework, that's it. Give yourself target, I'm going to complete this chapter in 3 days. Then even if you have to search from Google, you have to watch different videos on YouTube, start watching them. Make yourself aware of different things and don't waste a lot of time. If you're thinking, all right, this is very difficult and I'm leaving the difficult part out, don't do that. Start with the difficult thing first. You are difficult, I'm gonna see you first. Then difficult, then easy and easy and easy. Then it just becomes easier. So nothing is easy, nothing is difficult. It's all in your mind and you're not average. Keep telling yourself you are the most intelligent student in your whole school, and you will be. The thing is, you just have to set your goals very clearly. So give yourself a target. Maths chapter, very difficult trigonometry, you're going to complete that in 1 week. You can do any question from any book. Pick different books, different question papers, and start doing and start, solving different equations by yourself. So give yourself a target. You're going to become a topper in, well, no time.
Hope that answers your question, Niharika.
Thank you.
Anukriti asks, what is your way to get refreshed and focused in this competitive lifestyle?
Oh, all right. So what I do is I also have a love for singing and writing different songs. So whenever I'm going through something, teenager, us Gen Z, we like to call it a phase. What happened? Oh, she's going through a phase. So whenever I'm going through a phase like that, so I usually write different stuff. I write songs. I write songs according to the situations. Then I sing. I non-stop sing for 1 or 2 hours at night usually, and so because that's the only time when I get free time, so that's when I sing, and then I'm like, all right, perfect, now I can't sleep anymore, I'm gonna sing more. So I sing. So whatever you like doing, for example, if you like doing sports, or if you like painting, if you like doing arts, so go with that.
Anuj wants to know who encouraged you to learn so many languages.
It was me, myself, I was the one who encouraged. It was my curiosity. When I used to go to India Gate and Red Fort, over there, when I used to talk to different people, then I was like, their accent's so different, I gotta have this, the way their tongue is rolling. Because whenever they talk in English, it used to sound like the words are just melting whenever they were talking. So, and everyone used to be like, wow, how nice, so it was me, my curiosity. I was always fascinated by different accents. I was very young when I started watching BBC and CNN News. So from there also I was really fascinated by the way they used to talk and by the way their accents used to differ. And then I was like, how about now that I've learned enough accents, that this is when I was 12, is that now I've learned 5 accents, so how about I start learning languages as well, because that is also a part of linguistics. Then I started working on linguistics. So it was all, my curiosity. The more deep you go into a thing, the more questions you have, and the more you want to solve those questions. So it was always my curiosity.
So curiosity is what encouraged her.
Yeah.
Shubhi is asking, as an adolescent, there are so many distractions around. Can you give us some suggestions to avoid such distractions and concentrate only on academics and career?
Sure. Hi Shubhi. So yeah, we do have a lot of distractions. For example, our phone, because definitely our phone is always asking, to give him time, because that is our phone, it's always a priority. Social media is also a priority. We have to post a lot of pictures, and then if your best friend and your different friends is also a priority, gossiping is also a priority. So all of these things, these are the kind of things that distracts us. And then obviously somebody wearing brand new clothes and somebody going shopping, doing a lot of party, all of these are the kind of things that usually distracts us. But then there are also things, for example, somebody having family issues or some sort of different issues, social issues. So those are the also kind of things that distracts us. Every time when I am, addressing people, I always say this, is that if you have a goal, you gotta set your targets. So always, whenever you wake up, make sure you tell yourself it doesn't matter who is gonna call me, it doesn't matter if I have to post a picture or not. First of all, you have to see this, is that everything that you see is created by you. So all of these distractions, they are created by you. The more you're going to keep telling yourself, I have a lot of distractions, more distractions are going to catch you, because this universe, it's basically like your slave. You say, I have a lot of distractions, it's going to do everything in its power to show you is that, see, Shubhi, you have a lot of distractions. But the more you're going to tell yourself, no, I can study very easily, it's pretty easy for me, and I am just focusing on my career, the more you're going to do that. And still, if you're facing, then make sure your targets are clear. They should be realistic. It shouldn't be like, I'm going to complete 10 chapters in like a day. Because what happens is that, can I share a little story?
Of course.
So what happened recently is that I created 2 different courses of British and American accents. And both of those courses had more than 100 videos, each video from 15 to 20 minutes. So somebody bought that course from my app, Learn with Janhavi Panwar, and somebody rang me up, and that person was like, I watched all of your videos of British accent in 3 days. And I was like, wow, great job. And then that person said, but accent bolna nahi aaya abhi tak, to kya kare? I'm like, you gotta practice, you know, you can't learn an accent in 3 days, and definitely not if you're watching my videos. So you have to set realistic goals for all of these distractions. You can, so set time is that I have to give social media 30 minutes, because you can't literally put your phone away, you know, all of a sudden, because then you're gonna be like, I feel very empty. So set time, 30 minutes for Instagram, and you know, 15 to 20 minutes for WhatsApp, talking to best friend at night for like half an hour, family time and study time. So basically tell yourself is that this is my week and these are the chapters I'm going to be done with. So make sure you set your targets and your goals. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that story also.
Of course.
So Rishabh wants to know, I can manage my own stress, but how should I manage my parents' stress?
Oi!
How should I make them believe that I am preparing well for the exams?
All right, so
this is a very like relatable question.
I can relate to you so much, Rishabh, you know. My parents are usually like, you know, look at that student, how much she's studying, look, and then look at you, you don't do anything. And you know, a thing
Sharma
is,
ji ka beta.
Sharma ji ka beta ye kar raha hai, tumhe kya, tumhare bas ki kuch nahi hai. So what happens is that, for example, if I'm giving this interview right now, and I'm gonna get off this interview, my dad is gonna just ring me and he's gonna be like, what the hell did you speak in that interview? You know, you could have spoken a lot well. So, and that's something he says in Haryanvi, so it sounds even, you know, like, yeah, he
like
is
it
mad.
hurts.
It definitely hurts. But now, you know, kind of like used to it. So whenever your parents are all of the time after you, the only thing you can do is that after you're done with your exams, you can show them your results. Is that, look, you have to prove yourself. Obviously, it's not an exam, but it's a whole different kind of exams where you definitely have to prove to your parents, because parents, they have got a lot of experience, a lot more experience than us. So they speak from experience. If they see somebody, because whatever your age is, they have already gone through that age. So they know what their child is doing, if their child is wasting the time or on his or her phone. So they know what you're doing. So make sure if you can handle your stress, so let your parents, you know, get mad at you, because that is their duty, that is their responsibility. As a student, it is your responsibility to come up with good grades and show your parents is that, look, I have been doing my work, so that you can assure your parents is that, yes, our child, he has been studying and he can handle it well. They're only concerned about you, you know, it's nothing negative. They're concerned about you, they're gonna say. But the thing is that some parents say it positively, is that, beta pad nahi rahe ho. Some parents say it negatively, kuch nahi karna tane, hai na? So some parents say it like that. So it's all about, you know, however they're saying, make sure you take it positively and just study, achieve good grades, show them so that they can assure themselves is that, yes, our child is studying, that's it.
So next question is from Shreya. She's asking you, what are your hobbies other than studies, and how do you manage time between your hobbies and study?
Ah, okay. So hobbies are, you know, basically if I'm doing, first of all, if I have to manage time, as I said, I like the process, so it doesn't really matter for me at what time I'm doing what time I'm doing anything. I recently remember, Shreya, is this Shreya?
Yeah.
Okay, hi Shreya. I recently remember is that if I have to manage my time, I don't really care if it's 3 a.m. in the morning. So what happened recently was I was researching on a topic and it was 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and then I was like, I have to discuss it with my father. I have to discuss it with someone, and if somebody's gonna listen to me at this time, it's gonna be my father. So it was 1:30 a.m. in the morning, Shreya, and I go to my papa's room and I go like, open up the door, I have to talk about something. He opens up the door and now my dad is lying and I'm like, Papa, I discovered about this, you know, we can also do this thing. It just fascinates me a lot. And my dad was like, correct. So I was just getting this assurance, yeah, somebody's listening to me. And if my dad is not available, then what I usually do is that, all right, I'm just gonna create notes. And as for my hobbies, I like singing. I absolutely love singing a lot. And I sing different kind of songs and I also write a lot. So I write usually at night, or if I'm traveling, for example, traveling is a great time to use my hobbies for. So whenever I'm traveling, I write. Whenever I'm traveling, I sing. So that's how I manage. Is that sometimes when you like doing a thing, it doesn't matter how busy you are, you still find that. You know, if you have been working for 23 hours, and if you're spared with 1 hour, you're not going to think about sleeping. You're going to think about, you know, I like doing this thing. I'm going to do this in this 1 hour. So this is how I manage my time.
We spoke about performance anxiety a while ago.
We did.
So another common question is, you spoke about lack of confidence connected to performance anxiety. So how to make a strategy to study when you're not studying for marks, but for your own confidence and for the knowledge in
That's
study?
an amazing question.
Thank you.
So how to study for yourself? All right. I'm just going to share my story with this because this is what I did. My dad always said is that you're never going to study for marks. No, you're going to study what's in the books. Marks, they are going to come to you. You know, with the marks, they're just going to be like 100 out of 100, very easy. All you have to do is focus on your concepts. So the thing is that I used to tell myself is that if this one chapter, why do we, first of all, if there is a science book and maximum chapters that are going to be in a science book are 20 maximum. So those 20 chapters, and we give those 20 chapters 365 days. Basically, a book of 300 to 350 pages, and for 350 pages we give 365 days. Really? No, we shouldn't be doing that. So whenever you study for knowledge, what I do is that I pick a chapter, is that I'm going to complete this chapter in 3 days. So any concept of that chapter, anything that comes, whether it's back exercise, whether it's any concept that was discussed in the books, I'm going to research each and every single thing so that if this concept comes up, if anybody's going to ask me questions, I can understand that question very well and I can, you know, answer that question perfectly. So I research each and every single thing. If I am, you know, encountering a whole new concept in the chapter, I'm going to research that on YouTube, on Google, on Wikipedia, on different articles, so that I can make everything clear. You know, whatever the questions are, yes, I can get that concept clear. So I give myself a target, 3 days done, then I tick on that chapter, is that now every concept of this chapter is cleared, moving on to the next chapter. So this is how you study, just for knowledge and not for marks. Because when you're done with the concepts, you know, you don't really have to cram everything. You don't really have to cram the questions, because whenever a question paper comes, you're like, I'm already done with this concepts. So study more and more. You know, if you have if a question pops up in your book, so make sure you research on that very well. And that's how you study for knowledge.
So there you have your answer. If anybody else was thinking about it, I thought let me ask you this. So another question that we commonly get is, however you are after your dream, your goal, however convinced you are to follow through, sometimes you face this fear of quitting, like quitting everything altogether.
Yeah.
Even though you are very interested in a field or pursuing it something. So how do you deal with such a situation?
I'm not going to say it quitting or giving up. It's basically, you know, it's our situation. Because most of us, and when I see adults, so most adults, they do their jobs not by choice but by chance. You know, they usually do that. So I just definitely like to say is that whenever you have this fear of quitting up and giving up, you are not going to do any of those things. Because believe me, when you're 30 and when you're in a job that you're in a job if by chance, so you're still going to think about the choice that what if I should have done that, you know, and what if I've done that and today I would have been here, you know, I would have been happy. So at that time also you're going to think about your choice. So if failure, if something like that is, you know, just coming to you again and again. Please don't focus on that. This is life, you know, this is a process. There's nothing like success, there's nothing like failure. These years you get to live, you just have to fill them up. So there's nothing gonna be like, oh, you made so much of your life, oh, you made nothing on your life. No, these are just sentences, you know, sentences created by human beings, by your society. So whenever you feel like you have to quit, you have to give up, think why you started. Think why you started at the initial moment, at the initial stage. Think about that, and then let that motivate you. And if that is not enough to motivate you, then make sure you tell yourself is that if you are gonna keep doing this, then how much you can achieve and how happy you are gonna be, and think about that. So think about the ending point and think about the initial stage. So let that motivate you.
And then when you face self-doubt situations, how do you overcome that?
I think self-doubt is a good thing. Self-doubt is a very good thing. Critics, they can help you a lot. Doubting yourself, definitely going to help you a lot. The more you're going to criticize yourself, but don't criticize yourself, oh, I can't even do this, this is so bad. No, 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 no. You're going to criticize yourself something like this, constructive criticism, you know, and those constructive doubts. So whenever you have self-doubt, so it's a very, very good thing. So, because when we have doubts, so then we are like, you know, yes, there is so much to learn. If we don't have doubts, then I think there definitely is a problem, because that's when we have our superiority complex. Having a complex is fine. Having a huge superiority complex and that narcissistic personality is not fine. So make sure you keep telling yourself is that, you know, you have to become a master of your field. So you have to keep researching. You have to dwell more deeper and deeper into a field. So that's how, you know, you clear self-doubts, and let self-doubts come. They're a good thing.
So we have new live questions now.
All right.
Saurabh is asking, how should we avoid tension about results after the exams?
All right. So whenever you are tensed about results, there is a thing called law of assumption. So whatever you're going to assume, that's going to happen. So whenever, you know, that thought comes up, oh my God, my result, no, you're going to think positively at that point. So let me tell you this thing is that we're not responsible for our first thought. For example, our first thought is that my results, they're going to come up very, very bad. But then you have to convert that first thought into something positive. So you're responsible for your second thought. No, I'm not going to get bad marks. I've done amazing. I've already achieved 100 out of 100. So law of assumption, the more positively you're going to think regarding your exams, the more positive results you're going to gain. I still remember when I was in, I guess, 8th or 9th standard, so everybody used to say, you know, Janhavi, you're very tense, you know, what if something bad happens, what if something bad happens? And then all of a sudden I just, you know, found myself telling myself is that you're gonna achieve bad results, you're gonna achieve bad results. And then they were not too bad, but yeah, they were bad. So, and you kind of think positively. And then I gave an exam, which I was not really sure about, is that if I'm going to achieve a lot of good marks or not. But then I kept telling myself, you know, I did amazing. I did absolutely amazing. I can easily top this. So whenever a thought of tension and anxiety comes, make sure it's positive. If the first thought is negative, make sure you turn that into something positive. Is that, no, I have done amazing and I'm going to achieve great marks, and keep yourself happy.
Thank you. So what is the most challenging part of your life right now? This is a live question from Vinay.
Oh, the most challenging part of my life right now. I think it's definitely going to be not staying at home a lot of the times, and because I'm traveling a lot, traveling for seminars and interviews and making a lot of courses. But I'd also like to say is that whenever I have to do my research and everything, so for that research too, I have to manage my time, although it's not a very difficult task, but sometimes there are some priorities and some places you have to go. Yeah, deadlines that I have to definitely, you know, meet. So for that can become a little challenging, not too challenging, but then all of a sudden I think, I'm on such a roller coaster ride, you know, it's like a movie. Then I enjoy that thing. So that becomes very much adventurous instead of challenging.
That's nice, how to आपदा को अवसर में बदलना हो गया. Acha, usually, see, once you are on your path where you have chosen your career, your interest, your field, do what you love, sorted. But 10th and 12th, you have to do everything. You have to study everything.
You have to study.
Not only what you love, whether it's math, science or languages. So how do you develop your interest in uninterested subjects?
Okay, uninterested subjects. First of all, हमें ये समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये जितने भी अलग-अलग subjects होते हैं, for example, our English literature, most of the students are like, why are we studying stories? You know, we're not fond of stories. So up until 12th, you need to have a basic knowledge of everything. It's called social knowledge. Many people say is that, why are we studying trigonometry? These are not going to help us in our career. In little things, they do. You gotta have that basic knowledge. Aap bina basic knowledge ke karenge kya? You gotta have that. Otherwise, if you don't have basic knowledge of, for example, if you're studying a chapter of mass communication in your English subject, so that's going to help you when you are an adult and when you have to talk to people. So a basic knowledge is definitely important, and to create interest in all of that, and to create basically interest in your uninterested subject, you have to tell yourself is that interest is always being created. Interest is never like, oh, all of a sudden interest is knocking at your door. Hey, I'm your interest, welcome. Nothing like that is going to happen. You have to create. The more you're going to research into a field, the more interest you're going to create. For example, you have to study physics, and physics is not really a good subject. So imagine yourself as a great physician. Or for example, if you're studying chemistry and you're not a big fan of chemistry. So imagine yourself doing chemical situations and doing chemical formulas and everything. Imagine yourself as a great scientist. So basically visualize yourself more and more in that subject. Dwell yourself in that subject. And that's how you create an interest. And if you're just going to study with an upper mind and you're going to be like, all right, I got to study this, the more pressure, the more difficult it's going to become for you. But the more practically and the more story-like you're going to, take that. For example, you're studying maths. Again, if you're studying maths, and then now imagine yourself as Aryabhat, for example, you're the one who created zero, and now you're creating even more inventions. So create a story, visualize yourself in that subject, dwell yourself in that subject. Interest is created like this.
That's a very nice tip. So usually criticism, like you spoke about constructive criticism, criticism often comes from your teachers, peers, parents, and sometimes people might not mean that well. They might not be your well-wishers.
Yes.
So how do you differentiate between constructive criticism and negative criticism?
A negative criticism is always going to come from a negative place. Whenever somebody's giving you a negative criticism, that person's going to be like, oh, you don't know this, you don't even know this. That is negative, when they're kind of like mocking you. But constructive criticism is, I think if you know this, that's going to be even better. That's going to be better. I think you can also do this. That is constructive criticism. When people encourages you to do more, that is constructive criticism. But when people actually tell you is that how you're not good at a thing, that is negative criticism. Instead of telling you is that you can become better, they're telling you you're not good, you're not enough. That is negative. If they're telling you you can even do better, that is constructive. So negative is always going to come from a very negative place. People are going to mock you. People are also going to say, even you don't know this, you're supposed to be intelligent. That is very negative. But when somebody says is that, oh, I think you can also study this, that is constructive. So always look for the tone of that person, what kind of tone that person has. If he has kind of like a mocking tone, so make sure you ignore that kind of person. If the person also says in a concerned manner, for example, your parents are going to be mad, but then they're going to be like, at the end, they're going to be like, we're only concerned for you. They're definitely concerned for you. So make sure you know that.
And don't you think sometimes parents can be stressed too? It's also their first time being a parent, right? So they might tell you something which may sound negative at that time, but later on you might realize that they are also going through stuff.
We tend to forget is that we are not the only ones growing. Our parents are also growing with us, they're also facing new experiences each day. They're also encountering different people each day, so they're also growing. They can be stressed as well, and you are stressed as well. So make sure you also understand their situations, is that from what place they're coming from and whatever they're saying, why they're saying that. So please don't go on their tones and everything. They're just concerned about you. That's all I can say.
So we have another live question from Tejashvi Nath, Moradabad, Uttar Pradesh. Tejashvi asks, how can students deal with nervousness of technical glitch during an exam despite of being prepared?
Technical glitch.
This even I hate when I face technical problems.
Yeah, me too. So first of all, is that technical glitch is basically not, your problem, it's the problem of somebody else. But if you are still having an anxiety regarding that, or if you're still facing that sort of difficulty, then make sure you tell yourself is that you have done your best, you are giving your best, and it's not yours to be taken care of. For example, if you're giving this interview and how all of a sudden the whole world's lights they just go off, and then now we're anxious about that. Is that, no, our interview did not go well. It's just not about us. We have been giving our best. So make sure that does not, really makes you anxious or tensed. You'll be tensed about your studies, technical glitches and everything. Is technical glitch about giving online exams and stuff?
Yeah, I think it is about that.
I think it's about that. So for online exams and stuff, it's not something yours to be concerned about. It's not your business. Whoever's business they're concerned about that. Your business is to study, give your exams well, done.
So another question we had was from Haryana. Gagan was asking. He was asking, often I end up calculating my marks after the exams. And this leads to stress.
This does.
And it delays the process of studying for the next exam. So
this does. All right. Whenever you're like calculating marks and you all of a sudden think, oh no, these are very bad, then you can always tell yourself is that I still have 3 exams left and I can give my best in those exams. So, as I said, you're not responsible for your first thought, but changing that first negative thought into something positive is your responsibility. So Gagan, make sure whenever you have this kind of thing is that, no, I'm going to achieve low marks. First tell yourself, no, you're not going to achieve low marks. You have done your best. You're going to achieve good grades. But if you have just written like 1 page, then definitely you're not going to achieve great marks. So make sure you tell yourself is that I still have 3 exams left, and if I'm not going to study for those, then if I'm going to keep procrastinating in these negative thoughts, then everything's going to go down the hill. So make sure you just tell yourself is that I still have 3 exams left, I can give my best in those.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Speaking of advice and mantras, this book Exam Warriors has a lot of mantras in them.
Yes, it does.
And it's a very simple way, and it also has activities
yes.
that you can do, and you can increase your preparation basically. So what were the activities that you think are important during your exams?
Okay.
Like physical activities are important, or some food habits that you think are important?
Make sure you get a lot of good sleep, and study. Exams times students are usually like, oh, I can study for a whole exam in like 6 hours at night. We keep procrastinating and procrastinating and procrastinating. Don't do that. Make sure is that you study in the day if you have the exam the next day. So make sure you set a target is that I'm going to complete these. Make sure is that these are the kind of chapters I'm going to deal with tomorrow, and make sure you have a good sleep. As for anything else, just don't get yourself too much pressured, by everything. And I also see this in exam time. That person is studying, I'm not studying. That gets us even more tense, is that he's studying, I'm not. So you have to think is that whether you have prepared well or not. And if you have prepared well, then you shouldn't be caring about different people. And get a good sleep of like 8 to 9 hours.
That's great. So talking about sleep, studying in the morning is often considered to be a better time to grasp.
It is.
But some people just can't help, that's how they are. They are nocturnal and it's their routine.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them to, should they try and change their routine, or should they just do better at what they...
I think, it's perfectly fine if you can't wake up in the morning, because if you can do something in the day, so for that you don't have to wake up in the morning. But one thing I'm definitely going to say is that waking up in the morning is going to keep your health good, Not even health, your whole mood is going to be, fresh. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you hear the birds chirping, and like I live in a small town, which is very near to my village, so hearing the birds chirping and then people roaming, and that peaceful, so that's just gonna lighten up your mood. So waking up in the morning can definitely be a good thing, but not if like, oh, just for studying. If you can do that in the day, it's fine, you don't have to, but waking up in the morning can definitely be a good thing. I'm saying this because when I wake up in the morning, I usually find this positiveness in the air and in the trees and everything in the environment. So make sure you do that. Set your alarm. For the first week, you're gonna find difficulty is that to wake up early in the morning, but after a week you're gonna love it. You're gonna love waking up in the morning. My father usually says, the sun is already awake, you are not. What kind of thing is this? So make sure you awake yourself up before sun awakes himself up.
And also I think eventually, even if you're a nocturnal person, and one of those days when you end up getting up at 5 a.m. and you read, you'll realize you are doing 100 times more than what you were doing at night.
Exactly. Because in the morning, your mind is basically blank. You know, it's blank. So you can fill it up with whatever you want. For example, in the morning when we are like, oh, something negative happened, and then we are like, oh, this negative happened. Now my whole day is gonna go negative. If something good happened, wow, what a great day. So in the morning, you know, your mind is totally blank. You're gonna study more and more, and the things you're gonna study, you're just gonna keep. You can remember them for the whole day. So definitely that.
So we are almost coming towards the end of the session.
Yes.
And towards the end, I would like to ask you, when you were giving your exams and you were getting your results, right? And there are reactions. There are all kind of reactions. Now, for you, it was good because obviously you were doing well. How to, like, people also...
Not every time, though. I did bad as well, so yeah, but if I know the question's gonna be is that if people have those kind of reactions when you don't achieve a lot of good grades.
Yeah, but the question is actually a little more deeper than that, because we see a lot of, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, depression, anxiety, but there are people who are actually
suffering, yes,
and they don't know how to deal with it and they end up taking the wrong step.
Yes.
Sometimes it is not even that bad for them, they did not even share it, but in their head it was very big and they couldn't share it, and you come to know only when something drastic happens.
Guys, I'm just gonna say sorry to interrupt you. I'm just gonna say one simple thing is that studying and everything is just your responsibility as a student. It's not your whole life. It's just a part of your life, and you know, it too shall pass. That's the thing. So anything you're dealing with, it will definitely pass. If you're going through a very hard time, make sure you tell yourself is that everything's gonna be amazing. This too shall pass. I'm gonna give my best in everything. If you're not negative towards anyone, nobody's gonna be negative towards you. Even if people are, and you are dealing with a lot of negative situations, then it's just a part of your life. It's not your whole life. So whenever you are thinking about taking a wrong step, make sure you tell yourself how many great things you're gonna miss out if you're gonna take a wrong step. And make sure you also you also keep telling yourself is that I'm the most coolest person on this planet. That's gonna help you a lot. You're the most coolest person. Don't take everything too seriously, you know. Even if people are telling you gotta take this seriously, all right, you do that, but you do that with full honesty. If you're studying, you do that with honesty, because I also encounter people who usually, you know, they're studying, but they're studying it due to peer pressure, or they're studying due to, you know, because people are expecting them to study, parents are expecting them to study. Make sure you do it for yourself. Make sure you do it with full honesty, and then when you're done with it, you're done with it. Then don't take pressure from nobody, even if it's your family, it's your parents. Make sure you stay chill and don't take everything too seriously, because there are so many good things in this life, you know. And I'd also like to ask you all a favor, is that spread more positivity. There are already a lot of negativities in this world. Make sure you appreciate people more and do that, and you're just gonna be happy yourself.
That's a very nice advice. Also, there is a lot of talk about when it comes to like negative, like you said, there is a lot of negativity already.
Yeah.
So the news or things around you.
Yes.
Negativity affects you a lot.
It does.
So how does one choose to, you know, pick the positive and
just as for news, I'm definitely going to say keep yourself updated with what is going on in the world, what is going on in the country, but don't dwell too deep. I still remember there was this news recently was going regarding an inter-religion affair or something like that, and that kept going and going and going and going. So a lot of people, you know, they were like too much pressurized by it, and they were like all anxious about it, is that what if it happens somewhere around our family? So make sure you just stay updated, keep yourself updated with the news, but don't dwell too much in it. You have to focus on your life. When you keep yourself updated, make sure you know is that, all right, I know this thing, and you have made yourself aware. That's it. Now focus on your studies. That's it.
So you have to switch off.
Switch off, yeah. Don't dwell too deep into that. Although some things definitely, you know, fascinates us and we are curious about that. So solve your curiosity, but again, don't take them too seriously.
So on that positive and thoughtful note, we come to the end of today's session.
Yeah.
It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
I hope I am here to interview you again next year as well.
For sure.
And I'm sure by next year we'll have many more accolades added to your...
Definitely. Hope so.
Yes. On that note, that's me, Divya Singh Sharma, signing off with Janhavi Panwar on all 3 channels. Thank you for watching us on Union Junction, Doordarshan and NCPCR. Come back again for our next session. And that's all from us today. Thank you. Namaste.